Hey, I'm Conn. I'm the founder of GaymerX, the first ever LGBT gaming convention, and you're watching Meak Media live on location.
Welcome back to our viewing audience. We're back with another episode of Meak Media live on location. We are at the second day of the first annual Salon LGBTQ live social media conference right here at the Renaissance Atlanta Midtown Hotel. I'm standing right next to a pioneering brother who has, they're doing great things in the gaming industry for the LGBT community. This is Mr. Conn, who is the creative director of Gaymer Connect. How you doing, man?
How you doing?
Man, what is going on?
I'm just enjoying this amazing conference. This is going really well.
Yes.
I'm really glad I came down here. It's my first trip to Atlanta.
Oh, welcome to Atlanta.
Yeah, no.
I'm born and raised, so welcome to our city.
I've been grossly misinformed by how awesome Atlanta is. I had no idea how great Atlanta was going to be.
I'm glad you're enjoying our city, man. When I first met you yesterday, and when you first got up to introduce yourself, man, you actually blowed our minds with the information that you brought forth, and even with your powerful testimony. So tell us a little bit about your inspiration in creating this vision, or being a part of this vision of Gaming Connect.
Sure. So, growing up, I'm a huge geek. I'm still a huge geek. I play video games all the time. And I always felt a little bit of an outcast, mostly just because I was a geek, and as most geeks are. And then, I felt like when I figured out I was gay, it was really hard for me to accept that because I just knew that my life was already tough enough as it was, and to be a gay geek was going to be that much tougher. And so I resisted against it for a long time, not because my family didn't support me, just because I had all these big visions of I wanted to run a company, I wanted to do this, and I was like, I saw them all going out the window.
Wow.
And it was really tough for me because at my school, there's a Gay Straight Alliance, and there's all these resources for queer kids. And the thing is that they were all for a queer geek like me, I felt like I couldn't relate to any of these people.
Wow.
And in the geek communities, they were very xenophobic towards queers and people who they didn't really understand. And they get bullied, so they don't want to associate themselves with the lower class of give them more reason to get made fun of. And so creating GaymerX, the conference, and Gaymer Connect, the website, the whole idea about it is creating a safe space for queer geeks to be able to find one another, talk about games, talk about things that they care about, build their community. Because I think that if I were a young person and I knew that this existed, or I was able to go to a convention or even just hear about it, I think I would feel a lot less alone in terms of knowing that there's thousands of other people out there, probably hundreds in my own town, that are like me, that have felt this way, but because of the fact that being a queer geek is kind of especially if you're a queer geek in a minority, or you're a queer geek and you're trans, and all these other things where now you're layering on all these things for people to hate you. It's really hard for you to be I want to find a community and I want to find people who accept me. And it's very easy to just kind of be wow, the world really hates me. And that's kind of our whole goal, is to show people that there is a community out there for them and provide that community.
You know what? I'm so glad that you all created something like this because me being of course older, during our time we didn't have outlets like that. Especially because when you talk about gaming and stuff, that's also kind of similar to the arts, whether it be just performing arts or visual arts or what have you. And I know when I was coming up, I wasn't always able to, get more into comics and stuff like I really wanted to. And I know during our time we had the Atari.
Yeah.
And that was the pioneering whole genre of gaming and stuff. So I wasn't able to get into it as much as I would have liked to, but to now see that the next generation has created an actual arena and a community where those who are into gaming, who are geeks in that arena, can actually just come together and just be who they are. How long has this been going on?
The convention.
The convention, yes.
So we actually just had our first convention about 2 months ago.
Wow.
In August. And so we're having our second one in July of next year. We're going a lot bigger. We're actually going to be taking over the entire Intercontinental, downtown San Francisco.
Wow.
Last year we had 2,300 people. We're expecting about 4,000, 5,000 this year.
Wow.
your sponsors in terms of like Cards Against Humanity, and last year we had BioWare and EA and Riot Games. So we had a lot of support from very large companies. EA is the largest third-party publisher of games. So companies like that coming out and supporting a convention like ours, especially first year, when they knew the risks of associating something that was non-proven ground, really meant a lot. I think it meant a lot to people who came to see that companies were out there and supporting them. I really appreciated that you brought up that the art concept, because if you're a gamer and you're watching this, you may know that like Roger Ebert, rest in peace, famously said that video games are not art. And people, to this day, have been fighting against that mentality, because video games are art, and it's pretty established that that video games are an art form.
Mm-hmm.
And for an art form to evolve, for it to not be able to discuss things like gender and sexuality and race and all these different things because they're taboo or they haven't been talked about in the past, severely limits the amount of storylines and the amount of character development and all these different things that can happen in a game. And so if the gaming community really wants to take that next step, they have to be willing to have conversations that may be potentially uncomfortable.
The uncomfortable conversation.
Like we should figure out why, like, when you're playing on Call of Duty, why is it that like just N-words and F-words and all this shit is just like flying out, and it's just like, that's just the culture. Like, okay, like that, it's fine. Like let's figure out what, like, it doesn't matter how we got here. Let's figure out how we can, move forward progressively and make it a safe space so that way women want to play, queers want to play, people want to play these games because there's a huge community out there that wants to play games and they want to have things made for them that feel and are also underserved because they just haven't had an outlet yet to have that safe space.
Do you all plan to take this on tour?
We definitely are looking to expand if it goes well. I mean, we are bootstrapped in terms of like, we have no private investment. We are just doing this based on, we did a Kickstarter to launch the original GaymerX. For this year, we're not doing Kickstarter, so we're just doing direct ticket sales. But if it goes well, there's a lot of interest in having it go on the East Coast. There's been a lot of interest in taking it, outside of the country. There's a lot of people, if you are a queer geek, this means a lot to the people who this is for. And so I feel really bad when people say that they want to come to GaymerX and they're like, hey, I live in the UK, or I can't afford to go to San Francisco and fly out there and get a hotel room. And it is unfair to them that they can't, have that community, and that's why we have Gaymer Connect. So even though you can't come to the convention, we do have a website where you can talk to everyone else and talk about games and be able to geek out about different things with your queer buddies. So if you want to talk about Final Fantasy 14, but you want to also talk about how one of the guys is really hot, you don't have to feel like someone's going to be like, get off this board fag.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, oh yeah, I agree. Or be like, you know what?
I never thought about that. Yeah.
Be like, he's not my body type, but I like that guy. Like it's nice to, it's really weird because for people who are looking from the outside, they just see it as like, something like, oh, you're just trying to sexualize video games. But it's not about that. It's about being able to be comfortable and talk about things that you care about and not be like, bullied because you're like, oh, well, I don't want to hear any of this gay shit. We're just here to play games.
And you know what? It's interesting that some of those people that make those homophobic comments, it's like, okay, let's look at Grand Theft Auto. I say, y'all don't say anything about, when y'all use the B and the H word when you talk about women. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So, what's the difference, So I'm glad you brought that up because that was very important. How can people reach you and find out about the conference and about the vision?
Sure. So, you can go to GaymerConnect.com. We're also, we are very social, so we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google+. We do like a local weekly hangout show on Google+. And we definitely try to be very active on social because again, our whole goal is to be as visible as possible and show queer geeks or even geeks that may be not queer but want to be allies, that there is this community out there, and so that way we can kind of help spread that word. We do have a website, so if you go to Gaymer Connect, you can find all about people that are coming to GaymerX. You can get your tickets, you can find out the dates. We have a really awesome lineup. We have Gordon Bellamy, who's previous director of IGDA, which was kind of groundbreaking that he's both queer and a person of color. We have Maddie Bryce, who is an amazing queer developer. We have John Scalzi, who's kind of like the internet's troll slayer. We have the co-founder of Reddit, Alexis Ohanian. We have the voice of GLaDOS, Ellen McLean. We're gonna have a wedding at the Conn.
Wow, awesome.
We're gonna have a lot of, and the reason for the wedding is there was actually a proposal during one of the panels last year. So
wow.
It's sort of a logical sequel. And it's just great to have this convention this year. In that last year we got a lot of support from companies, but it was our first year.
Yes.
And a lot of people were very nervous about, a lot of companies that we talked to wanted to help out, but they were nervous about bringing in their giant brand, something that was unproven. They didn't know how the culture would react, how if the convention would go well. Now that we had it, it went really well. People reacted really positively to it.
And it was a great benefit to the companies, because by this being their first time actually doing something in a unique community, and actually having the first time to be involved with diversity, that actually gave them the data that they needed to say, hey, we've done this, this is proven, this market is ready for what we have to offer.
Yeah, well, I mean, and actually one of the most exciting things about our convention, and something I'm really proud of, is that if you look at most gaming and geek conventions, especially gaming conventions, I don't have hard data on this, but I see probably between 5 to 15% non-males who go to, I would say, on both professional and fan-facing gaming conventions. At our convention, we had about 30–40% non-males. And we had a ton of straight guys, we had a ton of trans people, we had a ton of straight women and lesbian women, and just genderqueer people, and people who were not white males. And that was really important for me, because I came into it, even though I knew it was going to be a gay crowd, I still thought it was going to be just a lot of white gay guys. And the fact that we had such a diverse crowd come out was really important, because I wanted it to be really fun. I wanted it to be something that everyone could enjoy, but I also wanted it to be a really safe and welcoming place for everyone. And I didn't want it to be a place where people came and they're like, ugh, like, it's just like, this is gross, and I think that we got really lucky in that, we had a really diverse crowd. Everyone was really open to learning about people. There was a lot of really good questions that happened, and people who had questions also were really welcoming to talk about their experiences and help explain things to people who might have questions. We worked really hard to make sure that those, conversations could be facilitated, and that we had gender diversity training for our volunteers. We had gender neutral bathrooms. Just kind of small things that mean a lot to the people who are looking for those things. And so for like this year, we purposely chose a hotel that was like, if they couldn't do gender neutral bathrooms, we're not going to do that. And we are kind of want to pride ourselves on continuing to provide a safe space, not just for gay males, but for the entire queer, and even not even queer, but just a population that wants to see more diversity and more kind of positive change in the gaming industry.
Matt, I have enjoyed this conversation, and to our viewing audience, for more information about this great vision, please visit the website www.gaymerconnect.com.
With a Y.
Thank you, I was just about to say that. Once again, that's www.gaymerconnect.com. Matt, it has been a pleasure.
Thank you very much for your time, man.
Please stay tuned while we're here live at the first annual Salon LGBTQ social media conference right here in Renaissance, Atlanta, Midtown, on Miko Media, live on location. We have more in store. Man, that was awesome. We would like to give a special shout out and a big thank you to the great founder of this vision, Miss Deb Rocks. Thank you so much for inviting us. We're glad to support you. Also, a wonderful thanks to all of our participants who we are allowed to interview on this wonderful occasion. You can just check them out on all of their social media outlets and their websites. Okay, there's so many to name. So we're going to just leave that for those of you who tuned in. Once again, stay tuned for our next episode where we have more coverage, more events, more opportunities to present to you right here on Meak Media, live on location. This is Miko Evans signing off. We'll see you soon.